Today we're going to make a really easy stall gate. This one's actually going to wind up being, I'm going to fence it in so that I can lock chickens up in here if I want to. That's why it's got a top to it. But I made the hardware actually a couple of years ago, but I do explain that to you. The hinges are from Home Depot. These down here these are actually recycled hinges from a Habitat for Humanity Restore. They sell them for $1 a pair, which you just can't beat that. This is just a latch to keep the top closed. It works like that. Alright, let's get started. I've got my pieces cut, and this is some rough sawn lumber off my homemade sawmill, and it's 48 inches long and 36 inches across, and I'm just going to space these out, just kind of evenly spaced. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is get it squared up. And the way I'm going to do that, you can check the diagonals and make sure you go from one side to the other. So that's 60 inches. You want to make sure your board's right on the corner. And that's 60 inches. Okay, well I got really lucky. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the two ends stapled down. And you could nail these, you could screw them, you could do whatever. I've got a stapler that I'm going to use to put it together just because it's faster. I'm going to put a little glue on here. Alright, now I'm going to check the diagonals one more time. We're at 60. We're at 60. Alright, that's got it all stapled together. Now I'll just set this aside and let it dry. But that's got the gate finished. This is the top piece, and remember we're leaving this open for wire. And the first thing I've got to do is get it square, just like we did the bottom. And so I'm going to check this, and that's 48 inches. And this is 48 1/4. So I'm going to have to shift it this direction. Still got to make sure you got all your right on the edge. Alright, let's check it again. No, it doesn't look like I did much. It's 48 1/4. Okay, so let's shift it some more. Square it up. Because part of the thing about using a square on something like this is it's rough lumber, and so none of the edges are square. So I really can't use a square on it. So I've got to do something like this. Okay, now I'm 48 1/4 that way, so it's not going to be right. And I'm 48 here. So I need to come back about half of what I did last time. We're getting closer. Alright, 48 1/8. So we're going to be square this time because we split the difference. Yep, 48 1/8. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to do just like I did before. I'm going to get these corners attached, and then we'll check it for square again. Alright, that's got it squared and the corner's done. So now the next thing I need to do is cut the wire, and I've got some more pieces cut to go into these holes, and you just have to measure them and see what they are and cut your boards to fit. So it actually goes over here. But I got to get the wire in here first because I want to trap it in between the layers. So the next thing I'm going to do is get my wire cut. Now the wire comes 24 inches. This is 1 by 1 welded wire, 1 inch by 1 inch welded wire. Okay, so what I need to do now is, if I drop it down in here like this, I'm going to have to cut these corners out a little bit to fit it in. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, that's got our wire in there. And you may be thinking, well, why cut this out? Why not just put the wire on here and then nail these boards on? And I could have done that, but it's hard to get it square and all of that, and so I wanted to get that out of the way. And if the wire was under there, it would be even more hard. It'd be even harder to get those correct. So the next thing I'm going to do is get these boards put on. One thing I want to make sure that I do is I put some staples. When I staple this down, that I actually put some staples up in here into the wire so that an animal wouldn't be able to pull this out or something like that. Alright, here we go. Let's get this all put together, and now we'll just let this set it aside and let it dry. This is the hole where we're going to put the kegs, and I've still got to run a 2x6 across the bottom down here. I don't have one. I got to go pick one up. So I'm going to put a block under here, kind of help me get it up close to the right height. Alright, that's got the lower one done. Now let me move you up a little bit. Now here's the hardware that we're going to use for a latch, and I didn't film making this because I made it years ago when I made all the other gates in my barn. But this is just a piece of 1/8 by 1 inch strap steel, and I just welded this little button on it for a handle, and on the end it's just got a bolt welded on there so it can pivot. And then this is the keeper right here. It goes like that, and so this can travel in there. And this is just more of that 1/8 by 1 steel, and it's got a couple of pieces in the ends welded in there as the keeper. So it's very easy to make if you know how to weld. And then the catch is here, and I took a piece of 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch steel, cut it on the bandsaw, the metal bandsaw, and then welded it to a piece of 1.5 by 1/8 inch steel. And I'll get that put on, you'll see how it works. Alright, so that's got our catch done. We now want to get the upper part put on, and this gate was attached to these fence pieces, so I need to add a piece right here to bring this out to the same thickness as that. Now I want to make sure there's a gap between this one and the upper one, so I'm going to put just a little piece of wood in there. Alright, now I need a stop for this to be able to stop against. So alright, so that gives me a good stop up there at the top. The last thing we need on our door is a latch to keep this closed. And so I'm just using a very simple 1x2 piece of wood, and I've got a hole drilled in it off center so that it'll want to hang, the bottom will want to hang down like that. And I'm just going to put it right here. And that's it right there. So you can turn it and open that, flip that down, and it'll hold it closed. This is never going to have much pressure on it. I'm actually going to enclose all this area so that I could lock chickens up in here if I wanted to. But anyway, that's got our gate built. A lot of times for a stall, you'll just need the bottom part. But hopefully, you got something out of this. You know, you can make these things. You don't have to buy them. So anyway, thank you for watching.